What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. Boy, oh boy. You know what? These bells have worn me out with this particular last few episodes. I've been trying to get over here to review, the bells, and there's been some challenges. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into 8, 9, 10. I'm going to just squish it all in here together. We're not going in no particular order. We just going to talk about the things that's been happening over here in Jackson, Mississippi. I recorded one video. I didn't like it. So I deleted it because I didn't like it. And I didn't want to bring nothing over here that I wasn't happy with. And then I recorded another one last night. And child, we here now. We're going to talk about it. So yeah, like I said, get into that like button. It's the thing to do. It's free 99. That's what people say. I'm here. I'm with y'all to discuss these bills. It's been a lot going on over here. I've been enjoying it, to be honest. I have. I've been enjoying the bells and their. Excuse me, child. This ain't my best day. Every beauty has a bad day. Anyway, we ain't here to talk about me no daggone way. I have been enjoying what's been going on over here. I've definitely been entertained by it, and I've been trying to look at it like sometimes you got to try to get past the nonsense, and I'm no professional therapist or anything, so it's not my job to come over here and analyze what these people's lives are. I'm just a viewer with an opinion, and I love to hear y'all's opinions too. So let's share our opinions about what's going on over here in Jackson with the Bells. I'm gonna start here. The Pearsons and the Rogers. This is what's going on, in my opinion, with the Pearsons and the Rogers. Cliff and Latrice do not by any means take Leticia and Glenn seriously. Period. The Rogers have real businesses. I feel like Cliff has, a very established name within Jackson, and he sees Glenn for the goof that he is. Glenn is fun, but in real life, and I'm, from Cliff's perspective, this is my opinion. He's fun to hang out with and all that, you know what I'm saying? But and the people said that he be having the nickel bags. I mean, it is what it is. Is the thing legal over there? Is the green trees legal over there in Jackson? I don't know. But he don't have a dispensary. You know what I'm saying? Glenn has literally no business. The Rogers are business people, entrepreneurs, and the Pearsons are 9-to-5ers. That's why Leticia was so upset when Latrice made that comment about the people working 9 to 5. So Glenn's an ignorant ass. I guess what's happening is, okay, Cliff is trying to show up as a better person. Not necessarily in real life, but I don't think Cliff likes, like, in the last couple years, like how he's been viewed, like, who he really is. So he wanted to polish up his image a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So he's over here, he planned this dinner where they can come cook together. And when the slow motion walk up was like, child, y'all are over here going through, we don't know what it is you're going through, because this is what Leticia and Glenn do. I'm going to be mixing up Leticia. I'm going to just call her Tisha. That might make it easier for me. This is what Tisha and Glenn do. They come over here, they pretend like they're going to divorce. I think low-key, they probably really want to, because these people have been together for 23 years. So I feel like Glenn been out here doing whatever he wants to do anyway. And he would like to stay clung to this lady because she is the lead on this TV show. Carlos put her in the front, but she can't lead, you know what I'm saying, without no real business. She's fake and a phony. And I'm assuming she's trying to change that, you know what I'm saying, with her independency and things that she's trying to acquire over here. But in real life, these two are on a date, even though we don't know what's happening over there. Glenn could not be happier to be in front of that camera. I wish Carlos would just give this nigga a bell, because he wants to be a belle so bad. Probably more than Leticia wants to, but They had a moment in here. The chef is explaining what they're going to be cooking. And he said they were making polenta, and this fool thought that he said placenta. And this is how, not smart he is. And it's okay. Maybe, he hasn't been exposed to anything. Tisha going to get in her confessional and say he was joking. He was not, because your man's not very smart. He's, a steamboat worker. And I don't think he's put a lot of effort into being anything beyond that. He likes to prance around with his shades on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Giving off his like whatever he thinks is cool. He's that guy. And so don't nobody want him but you. Not true. And all these, whoever he's out here in the street, like Amanda, for instance, who came over here and was engaging with somebody's husband. Now, Amanda, you don't, get a pass for any of that. Anyway, they over here, I feel like, trying to establish some type of alliance, because if these two ladies are not getting along, hey, Elsie, like, share, subscribe. Elsie, don't watch the bells. She coming through to give me a little whoop whoop, and I'm going to take it because I appreciate it. Yeah, anyway, Letitia and Latrice, they day one bells, and they're fighting for that top spot. And so Cliff knows that it is not going to be that easy. Tisha is Carlos's girl, so you bells, you two head bells, are going to have to get along in order for this to work. And I don't know that he cares so much about hanging out with Glenn anymore, because Glenn is a liability. So he's like, and we can hang out like with our wives together, but you messy over here trying to holler at my wife's best friend. That makes no type of sense. Now you're going to get all of us in trouble. And, I feel like that's where Cliff's headspace is. They are over here discussing this whole Babygate. Babygate has gotten on my last nerve. I feel like they have spent too much time talking about a baby that may or may not even be real, because might be out here in these streets much like the rest of them. And, we'll get into Babygate, but they're having a conversation about Babygate. And child, who's got the big mouth? Who brought it to the bells? Tisha, for whatever reason, keeps throwing shade at Carrie. So I'm guessing Marie doesn't like Carrie. The alliances, we formulating alliances now. I feel like there's Latrice, there's Tambra, there's Selena, and then Carrie, will probably end up over there with them too, just based on the way Marie and Tisha are acting towards her. Although she hasn't thrown them out yet. She's still over here. I'm going to go ahead and share it and get it out the way. Carrie is not done with Tisha and Glenn yet. Glenn has formed a friendship with your boy, Matt, and they have decided to use Glenn and the boys to promote the restaurant, the Brick and Spoon in Biloxi. So this was just last week or so.
Meet me at the Brick. It's going down. Meet me at the Brick. It's going down.
Meet me at the Brick. It's going down. Carrie, I'm not mad at this idea. This is what this platform is for. She had a Brick and Spoon spring break day party. I hope it's not too late. I don't know. Like I said, it's last week. So whatever Matt is over here doing with his mama hasn't got this lady to close her business yet. And I feel like if I was Carrie, this is my baby. I will kick in the towel, when I'm ready. I'm not going to let y'all make me throw in the towel before I'm ready to do it. And certainly not before I get an opportunity to show my business on this platform. So I'm not mad at Carrie for, stretch it out, girl, until you're ready to say, uncle. Anyway, what's this lady, Letitia? She's throwing shade at Carrie because Letitia's a hater, and anytime she runs across someone with successful business, Carrie is very outspoken, but I don't know that she's trying to be no HBIC. I think she just want to be one of the girls and run her mouth, and you know what I'm saying? Be in the business, because they, transparency and everything that they have over here. So yeah, this is a story about the Rogers and the Harrises are not over here. The Rogers and the Pearsons. And who is, the HBIC? Y'all just go ahead and share the title, because all of y'all have been here since day one. And hopefully, maybe one day, probably not, the Pearsons will have actual business, because the Rogers is not over here playing. And whatever this lady Leticia is trying to do, Teresa ain't falling for it. So she keep, throwing stones at Carrie, and so does Marie. And Teresa's just like, what? Yeah, why are you doing that? I have my notes kind of all over the place, so I will look for them based on what we talk about over here. Let's get this out of the way. Babygate. We've spent a lot of time on Babygate because this man Mike was over here quite possibly doing something he had no business doing. Now we already know, based on what Selena has said, Mike goes out of town. He don't be communicating. He has done some things that are very much suspect. And we, as fans of the show, have been over here like, Selena, we're not sure about Mike, so we don't know if you should, move forward with that. I had to pull this picture because Selena looks amazing. I'm not even really a fan of these white wigs, but you killed it. 10s across the board. This confessional is giving yes, girl. Clock it. Ain't that what the kids say? Clock it. Anyway, two things are going on over here. So let's talk about Selena and her trip to Colombia. She went over to visit Tambra. They want to catch each other up on what's been going on. Tambra was letting her know she had a little, sip and see, tribute to myself, because these heifers want to be all up in my business. So I gave them my whole uterus to look at, basically, because over there at that museum, she had cheerleading pictures. She had all the pictures, the fibroids, the x-rays, the everything. And they got a chance to meet little London. And if I was Tambra, that's the last time that Treese, and probably not Treese, Tisha. So now that I've shortened the names, it's making me just as confused as before. Tisha and Marie Monroe will probably never lay eyes, on my child again. I don't know. We'll see how Marie is going to play this thing out. But Tambra, I think there's actually a way, and this is just me, like, you're going to have to navigate, girl. You can't just be walking out the room every time you're uncomfortable. That's what got you in this place in the first place. I would like to see Tambra stay activated. She up right now. She up. Stay up, girl. Don't let this lady play in your face. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to have to stand in, whatever it is. Get them. Go get them. That's when you start telling this lady she don't have no type of business. But we'll get to that. Yeah, Tambra shared with her. I think Tambra, like, I would do things with Selena. I would do filming with all the ladies except Leticia Pearson. I would find a way to exclude Leticia from things that I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And I would make it, your son is too old to come over here and play. It was the kids. I would have play date with Marie Monroe and her grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? Just for the sake of filming. I feel like Tambra and Marie could probably get along, just for the sake, like I said, of, we're going to play chess over here. You don't have to really trust that heifer. What we're doing is filming, because what you're not going to do is make me not be a Belle. And I'm, have said a lot of the same things that people have said about Tambra, but I don't like the way they're trying to get rid of her. So Tambra, stay up, and stay stuck. Anyway, Selena went over here to Colombia to get her teeth done. Her teeth look amazing, but girl, don't die for your teeth. Now, she went over there and she says to Tambra that she doesn't take her blood pressure medicine. And I'm confused by that, because this lady has had a stroke. She's been in a car accident. She says she has seizures. And so why she would choose not to take her blood pressure medication is a mystery to me. Only thing I can think of is, like, does Selena like the attention that she gets from being, sick? And that's a dangerous game you playing, girl. Please take your medicine. I don't know. There's not enough ways to say that. Then she went over to Colombia and did not disclose all of her medical history. So she ran into some issues and damn near died to get this beautiful smile. I'm glad it turned out the way it did. You know what I'm saying? She, like I said, she looks amazing, and I feel like even her man had to admit that that had him concerned her over there. You know what I'm saying? Why are y'all so? What is up with Columbia? Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for Selena. She did have Mike come over here and pull these men together to find out who brought the rumor to the Belle Collective. Um, you did, Selena, because you're still marrying this man. And if there's a rumor out, with the three creeps are Glenn, Mike, and Cliff are in a picture. Somebody put a comment. One of these creeps got a baby on the way. So I don't know if they, excluded, creep one and creep two, Cliff and Glenn, but creep three, the arrow was pointed at him some type of way. So it's never good to have these types of rumors out. Now, this is just a comment that somebody made on a picture. So we don't know if there's somebody that don't like Selena, or if it's somebody that doesn't like the Bells, or somebody that's got an issue with Mike. Whatever the issue is, this person brought it over to the internet. And everybody start pillow talking after that, Selena. So that's how, why it got to the collection. Because everybody's pillow talking, and rightfully so. Like, I would be telling my man, and I'm sure he would be telling me, he would probably be texting me talking about, child, I got some tea. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we communicate with each other. And then clearly that's how they all do. Cliff said he told Latrice, but Latrice said she did not know. So I feel like this is her friend and she wanted to stay out of that. That's not a rumor she wanted to spread. So even though Cliff told Latrice, I'm going to say Latrice is not the one that spreaded the rumor. The rumor got spread by Cliff, point blank and period. Because if it was last year, then why did he bring it up to Matt? And I'm going to go ahead and say maybe he brought it up to Matt because they did hear because he overheard Marie saying something about it. Selena is over here announcing bridesmaids and engagement, and all she's talking about is this wedding that she clearly hasn't been planning. But people are going to talk. They're going to be like, so they're going through with the marriage? I guess there's no baby. I mean, it's gossip, girl. And like I said, that's not normal gossip that gets out about people's fiancés. Most people, I would say, don't go into their marriage with a, idea that there could be a baby on the way. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people do, based on the way this world works. But if that's the case, then people are going to talk. So her being all bent out of shape about it being brought over here, on camera, that's what happens, Selena. You got to be ready. And if you already had the conversation with Mike, that's really all you had to say. You wanted to drag it on and make it a thing. And, here we are. And here come Glenn with a basket of goodies, baby goodies, because Glenn thinks that now him and Mike are now in the same boat, which you are actually nowhere near the same boat. Somebody being in the comments talking shit is nowhere close to you having go take a paternity test, because the moment you had to go take the paternity test, that proves that what we all know is you be out here in these streets having unprotected sex, apparently with, women. You off on the steamboat. So we don't even know if this lady was even in Mississippi or wherever you was sailing yourself off to. So yeah, you coming over with jokes. I'm with Mike. Mike said a he hell. You was the one crying over there when you didn't know if you was going to be the father, Maury Povich. So they, over here on Cliff's property, Cliff is over there doing big things, him and Latrice. So he's turning this property, what looked like it was an open, place, you know what I'm saying? Just, like where you have cookouts and things, but he's turning the building into an actual man cave. And that's freaking dope. You got that much property that you would send your husband over to his man cave. Get on, go play with your friends so I can, have some peace over here. They sit down after discovering that Cliff was the problem. They sit down. Glenn wants to know, like, why Cliff didn't do something about the conversation that Amanda brought to the table at his house. He's still standing on the fact that he thinks that Cliff should have done something about it. And Cliff is like, and Mike agreed. I don't know. It don't matter because at the end of the day, y'all are calling it flirting. I think it was Cliff that said, "Did you flirt with that girl? You should have flirted with that girl." And Glenn is like, "Everybody knows, like when I'm smiling, it's because I'm cool. It's not because I'm flirting, because get down to the brick. It's going down." Because yeah, he's that kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? So when he's smiling, you can't take it personally. And then here comes what's his nigga Matt. I'm kind of pissed at him this week. Matt comes in, chimes in, talking about, yeah, like if we flirt, it's a problem. But my wife is the biggest flirt. And she stop. That's not what we're talking about. We're not even talking about flirting, if you want to be honest. We're talking about how this man was in the car with Amanda. They were in the DMs, down to the Instagram, down to the Facebook. I don't know if he was texting her or not, but please tell me how texting somebody and being in the DMs is different. I'll wait. They ended the conversation with a bachelor party to Columbia. Like I said, I don't know why y'all are running to Columbia, but y'all better be careful out there because these days, being all out of the country, do Glenn have a passport? Do we have time? Do we have time to wait on Glenn to get a passport? I'm not sure that he has one. Let's get into this conversation. The brick and spoon, Matt and Carrie. Now, Matt and Carrie's mother are trying to tell her, how she's spending money. You're feeding money into this business. It's a sinking ship. You should just try to sell it. Just close it down. It's costing you money. And she's like, she's invested I think she said 5 figures of her influencer money. So Carrie over here making money as an influencer and Matt paying all the bills. But Matt wants to go ahead and do his own thing. And I just feel like Matt should be having this conversation with his wife. Maybe he has tried, but at the end of the day, Carrie, you have a failing business and he has come to a point in his life where it's time for him to make a change. So as a married people, this is about the Belle Collective. I'm not even sure what the collective is even supposed to be about. But if we're going to show a real life relationship marriage, you have to have these types of conversations. Because once you matrimony yourself to someone, and even if you're not matrimony, just once you partner yourself with someone, the finances, how each person moves needs to be discussed in terms of, how we're going to handle our business. We got a mortgage. He said he pay all the bills. So Matt, if you pay all the bills, then let this lady go ahead and do what she need to do. Carrie, he did say something about you being selfish. And I feel like that's because he's been paying all the bills. And maybe you should have something stacked. You know what I'm saying? Keep your stack a little stackier than it is. You draining the stack and the family might need, your input while he's transitioning. So I want them to figure this out. Matt went over here to have a conversation with his mother, who hasn't liked Carrie from day one, apparently. And we talking 20 years. They've been together since high school. So Matt came over here and basically told his mother. And she has a nasty attitude. This lady, I don't know. She didn't come across. Carrie's mother and Matt seem to have a lovely relationship. But this man's mother doesn't like Carrie. That has to be weird and awkward. So, he went and told on Carrie because she won't let, she over here, she won't close her business. And yeah, she won't close her business. And so you're going to have to let her, burn it on out or hopefully turn it around. Hopefully she's not thinking that Glenn can turn it around. But I do think it's an idea to piggyback off the show. And if nothing else, make some money, if you can, because when it's over, things will slow down. So make some money, try to recoup. I don't know what her ideal is over here, but y'all gonna have to let Carrie figure it out. And I don't like the idea that he sticked his mama on her. That's not gonna make for any type of cool, calm transition into whatever it is you're trying to do. How you gonna stick your mama on me? Now I'm just gonna keep the shit open out of spite because I'm not gonna let this lady tell me what to do. What else? I thought this was going to be more difficult, but some of the stuff ain't really. It's a lot, but not a lot. Um, who else? Where can we go from here? Where do we go from here? Do we want to go here? Um, let's go here first. Let's go here first. The Rogers. The Rogers have a lot going on. So last week, after the dinner, I guess over at the dinner, Treese mentioned that going through the surgeries and not the thyroids, the what do they call fibroids, going, dealing with fibroids returning and having to have surgery and all of that, it's like made her feel like now she wants to have a baby. And that makes sense. Cliff married somebody substantially um younger than himself. So I would say she's in her mid 30s and she has her businesses established and now she wants to get a baby before this window closes. Freeze your eggs, girl, just in case. You know what I'm saying? Just in case there's another candidate. Just go through the process of freezing your eggs. I think that's the advice that Tambra gave her too, because Tambra went through it. But she's having a discussion with her husband about going into surgery and how he left the last time she had surgery to go get drunk at the bar. I mean, this is the man you married. That's all I could say about that. I feel like a lot of times women marry men and they have this fantasy fairy tale in their head, but they don't marry the fairy tale. And then they're upset, like when the man doesn't follow through. He's an old ass misogynistic dude. He, doesn't have any respect for, the work she does. He's trying to downplay it. And I realize he does big things, but what she does is work too. She runs the businesses. So, once you build it, it still has to be, the business still has to be run. So he's, said he's thinking about having a vasectomy. And I'm wondering if it's just not to punish her now. Like he has kids. He said 3 years ago he wanted kids. Now he doesn't want them because he's older. And I'm like, you was old 3 years ago. So, I don't know. I think is he didn't like her getting her independency either. So, I don't know where he's coming from, but unfortunately for her, like she has to have this surgery and Teresa's going to have to figure out how to delegate to her management that's not him and manage, the time that she's going to be away. She's micromanaging, it sounds like she feels like she's got to be a taste. They have condos above the restaurant that she's dealing with the city getting zoning and all of that. She's got her goddess bundles, the store, her hair store. She's got businesses that are actually functioning. And I feel like she is the one that is required to do all the paperwork and phone calls and talking. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of work involved. And he seems to think you don't do anything but sit in front of a computer. And that's not unusual for that type of man to try to downplay what it is, we do as women. Everything has to, even if you don't work, taking care of the household is a job, sometimes a bigger job than going to a job. So that's who you marry. And I don't know, like, what her expectation is when she's feeling like she's got so much on her plate. But she's another one that needs to handle her health, get her health together, and focus on having a baby once that's a thing. You can't be putting off surgery and saying you want a baby. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, her reasoning as far as unconditional love, it is what it is. I don't think that most people have a reason for why they have a baby. I got pregnant. I always wanted to be a mom, but I never sat and had to plan a pregnancy. I was like, oh shoot, it's a baby. For all three of them. So I mean, I always knew I wanted to be a mom. It wasn't something that I was unsure about. I think, by the time you get to that age and you start realizing, if that's what you want, I don't know what to say because you're in a relationship with someone who's threatening to not. So the best thing you can do is get your eggs, freeze some eggs. Um, I'm sure embryos will be better, but this man is not cooperating. So, take a step to make sure that you don't let Cliff kill your dreams. And get your health together, because carrying a baby, puts you damn near closer to death than you would probably ever be. And if you have a lot on your plate now, then having a baby, this man ain't gonna change no diapers or do none of the things. You know what I'm saying? So plan on being a single mom in a marriage. Stormy comes to visit, and I feel like this was like to help us transition from, just help Stormy transition from uh she wasn't on the show, maybe to not transition, but to introduce her as a new Belle. They got a new season. I mean, a new what did I call it? Cast, new city, new cast of Belle Collective. So Stormy came over here. It was cool to see that Stormy and Latrice have been friends for a very long time. Two, women in business that supported each other. So, we're not going to sit down and say that's not a thing, because clearly it is. There's women that support each other. And Stormy and Latrice have been that. She was telling her like the issues that she's going through, and being able to tell Stormy, because Stormy has gone through all those same types of things that Latrice has gone through. She's met some challenges and, in business. And so they can have a conversation and have somebody that understands, what you're going through. Apparently Taste is in a YT neighborhood, which, now they're kind of, not kind of, they're interfering with her getting zoning to get people in those condos. And all I can say about that is like, you got to keep going from the women in history, women in business and history. They got a lot of no's before they were able to break through. I guess they would call it the glass ceiling. So, don't let a no discourage you from getting what you want. And I want to see it happen. I think she's got the capability to do it. And then, surrounding yourself with people that are like you, that can help you, get to the next level. Unlike Leticia Pearson, who has actually no businesses, this conversation with Stormy, maybe they can, maybe she could give her some insight of which direction to go and how to make this move. So, yeah. And she said she postponed her surgery, which is like, girl, you sound like your friend Selena. Figure out, delegate to the staff, your management. That's what they're for. You know what I mean? Actually, Cliff is not wrong in that a lot of your work is on computer. Take a couple of days off. And when you feel like, getting on the computer to get some work done, gradually move yourself back into the workspace. But, your 6 weeks doesn't have to be spent like laying in bed. While you're in bed, you know what I mean? You can maybe get some work done, because sometimes that's helpful for your brain. You only get stressed out when you're laying around and things are not getting done. So take a few days after surgery, get some rest, but you need to delegate, and don't delegate to Cliff, because he don't want to be there and probably will only be in the way. She has a conversation with her mother, and her afro is so damn cute. What did her mother say? I had to write it down because I wouldn't have remembered. But her mother said, "How is it with your so-called friend, Belle women?" She says so-called because she knows those are not her friends. Um, she's just sharing with her mother, like, how the Bells are trying to, turning on Tambra, and how meeting Tambra's daughter gave her baby fever. And whew, it sounded like they went through so much growing up. And for her to come from where she was to now, and I love her relationship with her mother. Every time we see her mother, she, is always so supportive and uplifting. And you can see that feeds her in a way she needs to be fed. She did the same thing Matt did. She went over there and told her mama she wanted a baby, and she wanted her mother to make Cliff, give her a baby. So we'll see how that works. I don't know. My mother was never that involved in any of my relationships, but if she's the power to get you what you want, girl, Matt is doing it, so you might as well do it too. They have an Airbnb. That's what, another business over here. They have an Airbnb. She was over here like showing her mother the location. This man said there is 300 acres. This man has 300 acres of property. And I bet you Latrice knows whose names is on his wills and things. And I bet you he ain't giving half or all third of it to his mama. Child, that's crazy. Anyway, um, just another source of income that these people have. And probably what's gonna happen is he's gonna build it and then she's gonna have to run the the paperwork, do all that stuff that, that he thinks is just easy work on the computer. Um, Latrice said it's hard for her to be vulnerable with her husband. And that's sad, because he's the person that you should be able to be vulnerable with. And I don't think that's unusual, honestly. I think there's a lot of women out there that feel more comfortable talking to somebody else because being vulnerable with their partner, especially if he's going to just belittle the things you do and not show you the respect you deserve, but you want to have his baby child. So, not my business. Not my business to discuss. There was this one little section where Latrice took Marie. I don't have an image of it. I thought I did, but I don't. Latrice took child. She took Marie to the strip club to out her. Latrice took Marie over to the strip club to tell her that, maybe she should try a girl, since she did when she was in high school. And at the end of the day, they hung out, they had a good time, and Marie has decided she wants to get together with the Bells because these people have an issue with Shantae. So she gonna get the girls together, and she's like, "Do you want to have like a conversation?" And Latrice was like, "I ain't got shit to say to Shantae. I don't fuck with her. That's it. That's all. That's how I am. No, I don't need a conversation. Y'all gonna keep inviting her, and I'm either gonna come or not come. So we'll see how that works out. Shantae, she gonna have to go, or there won't be no Bells. Like if she's at an event, that's one thing, but they keep sitting her down at bell tables, and it's not working out for them. So let's get into the Pearsons and their foolishness. The Pearsons, well, we're gonna go all the way back to Glenn taking Tisha on a spa date. This is when he was trying to, get the panties because she was on a celibacy with her husband, which sounds so stupid, but okay. Um, he decided that he thinks that she should not keep First on as her manager, and that she should hire him as her manager. But he doesn't know how to manage anything. And I thought the whole point was for her to be moving. Like, I'm not sure why it's so important to him to cling to her business. Like, what is it that he wants to play a part of? He's got his own thing, according to him. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that's holding everything down. So I'm not sure why it's so important for him to be involved in a way, besides just, being supportive. He can't do that. He want to know the ins and outs, the all that's going on because his wife is the Belle and he wants the Belle for himself. Tisha went to go talk to a financial advisor. I think this is a good idea for anyone, not just someone that's looking to get out of a marriage or get from underneath their husband or look for whatever independency that they're looking for. I just think it's a good idea for people because sometimes you need advice. Like you don't know like how to move yourself up to the next level. So here she is discussing, this with this woman. She says she wanted something. She wants to discuss a post nump. I'm trying to find where I wrote the daggone notes. She wants to discuss a post nump. That's not going to be a thing. Glenn is not going to let that happen. Glenn and Letitia will be right back where they was. Like I said, next season. I can't believe they have a break. So they're on a break after this weekend. We won't see them till June, so we really won't care probably. Carlos said it's not his fault. He's not the one that's responsible for any of this. But she asked this lady if she should consider her husband as a manager. And I'm not sure why. If you think he's not qualified to do any of these things, I'm not sure why you think he should be your manager. So the lady helped her out and told her, just don't make him your manager. We'll just have him be your advisor. He can be your advisor. I don't understand why it's so important to give Glenn a title of anything. He can be your husband. That's it. That's all. And not be involved in your business personally. If he wants a business, what happened to the truck business? He was over here. Did he tell her about that? He did not. He went and bought a truck and didn't say nothing. So, child, they meet up. They had all these dates during this episode for her to keep saying the same thing. They meet up for dinner, and she tells him that she went to a financial advisor, and the lady said, that that he should be her advisor. That would be his good title too. And he's like, what I want to be the manager. The advisor doesn't know anything. She says no. The advisor is way better than being a manager. It's almost like she's playing in his face. I kind of enjoyed it. They have a conversation about Shantae. She said that the Bells are having get together to discuss how they don't like Shantae. And he don't care for Shantae either. He says Shantae does not want him to be with her. He doesn't like him with her. Shantae, are you having jealousy issues over here? Are you a single woman and envying this lovely life that Letitia Pearson is over here having? I don't know. He said Shantae don't want him with her. And he said he has zero shits to give. So there's that. They start talking about life insurance. The financial advisor did ask her, do y'all have policies and things, retirement things in place? And she was like, no. And that's stuff that she needs to have. He probably does. He's not telling her anything. She said, are you on, life insurance? And so when she gets over here to ask him, because she told the lady, yeah, we have all that in place. But when she got over here with Glenn, she had to double check. She was like, I just, am I on the 401k or the life insurance? And he said, my son is. Okay, but what about your wife? And he said that his policy has his son and his wife and his mother. And he said that it's divided 3 ways. And I'm like, his money. But that should tell you everything you want to know. You know what I'm saying? I need to see this paperwork. If we have life insurance policies and things, we need to have the life insurance policy somewhere where I can see the paperwork and see who's beneficiary. I don't know why his mother would be the beneficiary of his life insurance policy when he has a wife. You know what I'm saying? Even if he put a little something in there. And then this man is talking like he's got all these assets. He got a life insurance policy at his job. They don't own their house. They rent their house. They don't have any assets. That's what Tisha said. So you're talking about a life insurance policy from your job, and do you have her on there? Because the way you hesitated made me very uncomfortable. And then she brought up the post-nut, and he said he'd get a divorce before he get a post-nut. You're not about to do that. He's not about to sign no post-nut. So there it is. He said he would rather get a divorce because he's not relinquishing control in that manner. So if whatever success you get in your independency, Glenn over here is going to be with his hands out, because he feels like, as your husband, it's only right, even though he doesn't have your names on everything. She said, how do you feel about being an advisor? He was like, great. He don't know how to advise. He don't know how to manage. He doesn't know how to do anything except walk around indoors with sunglasses on. So he went to go to a lawyer to talk about prenup because, he went post-nup. There's not going to be any post-nup. Glenn doesn't have any assets. It's crazy to me how he thinks that he is entitled to have any type of control in her business just because they're married. It can definitely be 2 separate things. And I think that's what the post-nup is for. We didn't have money before. We're moving in a different place now. We need to get this shit in writing. I don't think that's a bad idea, especially if you didn't have a prenup, because 23 years ago, They weren't really doing that. And I think a lot of times people don't think, we don't have, we're not rich. I think that's what they think. We're not rich, so we don't need it. And basically, you do need it to, exit peacefully, even if it's a post note. He said he ain't doing it. He'd rather have a divorce. And so she was in the house. He came through. He always comes in the house as if he's visiting there. She's doing a little work. That's what she said. And he she's on the phone with First. So he finds out that she's still like First is still the manager, and he hates this idea. And she was like, he was like, well, where do I even fall in? After the house cat, and he had this whole list of things like, where do I rank? I guess that's where he's looking at. Like, if we're to put the advisor in a ranking system, who's above me? Is it Donald, the investor? Mm, yeah. Like, if you're giving him a title as advisor where he's right underneath you and he gets to make all these decisions, then, you right back where you started from, dummy. You should have just told him, you're going to be my husband and that's it. So we're not having no titles for you. I don't know why you're going out of your way to make him feel that way when he's sitting up there telling you he'd rather get a divorce than get a prenup. And apparently he says that a lot. Let's just get a divorce. So they play these games with each other. She's like, here, she gives him the sketchboard. Here, advisor, like, let me hear what your vision is. You're a visionary. Let me hear your vision. And he was like, well, I think that you're beautiful and maybe you should model. And she was like a plus size model. And he's like, well, I wasn't going to put the plus. He didn't have to put the plus. I don't disagree with him on this, and I don't know about modeling per se, but I feel like Letitia is a very pretty lady, and I was saying, like, to be the spokesperson for the plus size clothing line. I guess that would be, her being a model, but she definitely, has a beautiful face, and she was looking really cute in some of those suits and things. Her wardrobe game, there's those times where she be stuffed in looking like a meatball, and then there's other times where I have seen her look good. So she looked cute here. She says she likes that idea. She said she's going to get some work done first. She would like to get some chin lipo, and then she would like to get a whole body makeover. And he has a problem with that. He said it's only going to bring unwarranted attention. I hate that. What do you mean? Her feeling like she's in the financial position to get some work done. Don't be a distraction, big body bookum. Nobody needs that. I already have enough. I've tried to put this daggone video out 17 times. So, yeah, look at you. All distracting. It's okay. I like it when you're here. Anyway, she's talking about getting work done on herself, and I don't know why for him he translates that into it's just going to be an unwarranted distraction. If she is thinking about representing herself as a model for somebody's clothing line, then I can see where she would want to do that. You know what I'm saying? To take care of some of the things that she's insecure about, and I'm not having, I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding why. And I think he's not the only man that thinks this way. I think this is how a lot of men like Glendale that are used to being out in these streets doing whatever he wants to do while his wife is stuck in the house because he's controlling everything. I see why he thinks that. Because what if she has a great business? And what if she starts looking really fabulous and starts getting really confident? Then what does that mean? Like, is she gonna, then have her eye open for somebody that'll treat her better than I have been? We certainly hope so. That's what we hope. We hope, Glenn, that you go the frick away and let this lady, flourish and maybe find your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like you holding on real tight to her coattails as she moves up, in her life of independency. She says she about to do whatever the hell she wants to do. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, you're moving like different. You used to call me all the time and ask for my advice for things. And, now you're moving like without saying anything to me. And she was like, I used to trust you back then. Oh, that's what the lady said. She said, I used to trust you back then. And she was like, now I don't trust you with my heart. I don't trust you with my business. I don't trust you as my safe place. And he's like, well, then why am I here? Good question, Tisha. Why is he here? Um, he said, why am I here? She said he always does that. He'll say, why am I here? And then say, we might as well get a divorce. He said it would be easier to start all over than to try to, meet her where she is. And again, I was like, you're not on the insurance papers. He'd rather get a divorce. It's easier to start over. You know what I'm saying? New. That's the second time he said that. It's just easier to start over. I'm not, doing any of these changes. So, they throwing these things out, these very clear things that, I mean, it's ending. It's game ending things that they're saying to each other. So I don't know where they're gonna be in this whole mess, but probably, like I said, back in a slow motion walk up next season because they're full of it. But I'm glad she's finally saying it out loud. He doesn't listen to it. He's pretty much saying, well, if that's how you feel, I'll just get somebody new. And it's easy to say that when he's been out here with somebody new all along. You know what I'm saying? She has reason to not trust him because he's not trustworthy. He was just in Amanda's DMs. So, and now we're hearing that, he might have been over here trying to holler at this lady Shantae too. And Shantae is giving to me that type of friend, you can't trust no way. So Marie has this little get together where she invites all the Bells and Shantae. Latrice didn't come. Latrice says she don't mess with that lady, and that's what she meant, clearly. So the meeting is going good. They're talking about how to move forward without outside distractions. And Tambra said she don't understand why they have to include Shantae in the first place, especially when she's been talking behind Tisha's back, and that's supposed to be her friend. And she said that she told the streets, and we don't know where Tambra got this from. She told the streets that, what did she say? That she was broke and that she had to loan her money for her reunion dress, and they weren't friends really. They haven't been friends for a while. The only reason why Letitia is having her back around is because she wants to have events at her house. We haven't seen her around, Leticia, so we don't know why she's been from nowhere around to at the table with the Bells. Child, Selena and Carrie just looking like, what, girl? Latrice is not there, but in her confessional, she said that she was down to Taste. Now, the people be down to Taste running their mouth. I guess you could go down to Taste and get you a good table, and you'll be able to find out all the business. And she said that this lady, Shantae, was at Taste telling a mutual friend how Glenn tried to holler at her. Now, I don't know that that's true, but I believe she said it. Like, I don't know if Glenn tried to holler at her, but he did try to holler at Amanda. So he will really be doing mess real close to home. Yeah, that's what Latrice said, but she's not there. She said she don't fool with that lady, and I guess she wasn't kidding. And when Shantae came in the room, Tambra got up. She was like, I'm not entertaining this. So what are y'all gonna do? And first of all, when the lady sat down, she came in, hey, everybody. Hey, Selena. Hey, Carrie Berry. She forever giving people she don't know a nickname. Carrie is not your friend. And they looking like they don't really want you to be there. They've already said, all of them, these outside people are starting drama. Marie Monroe, this was your great idea. I don't know what the plan was supposed to be, but yeah, Chamber got up. She's like, she's not sitting with this lady. I wish she wouldn't have left, but I understand why she did. So she's like, Latrice is not here, and so I'm not going to be here. And so y'all entertain her. When that girl sat down, the table was silent. Nobody wanted to say anything. They was giving dry highs like, hey, how you doing? Hey. So why do you want to be a part of a group that don't even want you there? And it seems like your friend is very entertained by it, Tisha Pearson, who likes to watch people fall out and things. She was all excited. The timbre was activated. Tamara says she ready to whoop that lady's ass. Tamara, I'm not sure you can do that. That's a big girl. I'm just saying. You just walk away if that's how you're feeling, because I'm not feeling comfortable, about a fight between Tamara and Shantae. So yeah, y'all, that's where we ended. They won't be back until June, and I don't know how we'll feel. I guess we'll feel all right. We got these new bells to entertain us. Like I said, Carlos said this was not per him. This was per the powers. He said it's above his pay grade. So for whatever reason, this is what they like to do, and I, don't know how I feel necessarily about the direction of the show, because there's so much, bickering going on and not enough business. I do want to see more of what Latrice and Cliff got going on over there, on those acres. And yeah, is Leticia gonna get her independency before the reunion? We will have to stay tuned. Yeah, that's it. That's all, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with Belle Collective Birmingham, and I'm about to go watch Love and Mary's Huntsville. So, like the video, subscribe to this channel, and I'm out. Bye, y'all.